just working on my new TARDIS that I'm trying to build back in the workshop. TARDIS, time and relative dimension in space. If you're a Whovian, a fan of Doctor Who, you know all about the TARDIS and the Doctor's travels. Well, today on the Lupine Epicurean, we're going to do a tribute to Doctor Who. You might remember that the 11th Doctor ate fish fingers and custard when he was trying to figure out what he liked. You might also remember that in the early seasons of the new Doctor, there was a plot line about the Bad Wolf that ended at Bad Wolf Bay in Norway. Today, I'm going to make a stew of scallops and fish that you get from Norway. I am, of course, the wolf man. Maybe I'm the bad wolf. Oh, that's not a good thing. So we're going to do something I call Bad Wolf Bay Stew. Scallops, fish, cheese. Oh, it's going to be delicious. And it's our tribute to Doctor Who today on the Lupine Epicurean. Thank you for joining me on yet another episode of the Lupine Epicurean, where today we're going to do not something spicy. Several of my previous episodes have been really spicy dishes, and I thought it was about time we did something that was a little more tame, but very flavorful. And I'm a big fan of seafood. Seafood is my favorite type of food in the whole world, and I often will buy scallops, but you know, you can do scallops and put them in butter and lemon and put them in pasta, and it's the same old thing. Well, we're going to do something a little different with it. We're going to make a soup or a stew with it. Should be really interesting. I call it the Bad Wolf Bay Stew as a dedication to my favorite TV show, Doctor Who. I am a Whovian. Yeah, I don't have a sonic screwdriver, but I could really use a sonic spatula. That would be cool. So, let's check out what we're going to need to make our Bad Wolf Bay Stew. Alright, so our Bad Wolf Bay Stew is going to be in three parts. First thing we're going to do is we're going to take half pound of scallops. These are fresh bay scallops, the small kind. We're going to take 2 pieces of whitefish. I'm using perch, but you could also use cod or pollock, other fish. We're going to take a half cup of chopped up onions and green peppers, what I like to call a veggie gruel, and as well a tablespoon of sea salt and 6 chopped up cloves of garlic. We're going to take that and we're going to fry it in the wok with a tablespoon of olive oil to start with. Then, once we do that, we are going to combine that in a simmer pot with 2 cups of water, a cup of milk, a cup of grated cheese, and I'm using Monterey cheddar and Monterey Jack and cheddar. Also, 2/3 cup of rice, a third cup of grated radishes, a third cup of grated carrots, and that is all going to go into our clay simmer pot. And once we've got it good and cooking and we've got it simmering, then we're going to add our seasonings. And we're going to go with some unique seasonings this time around. We're going to go with half a tablespoon of each of these 3 things: ground coriander seed, chervil, and ground marjoram. So these are all the ingredients that we need to make our Bad Wolf Bay stew. Alright, so as you can see, we got the wok heated up. We've got it just a little bit over medium. Something I didn't mention before is I am putting a tablespoon of butter in here as well. I don't know why I didn't think of that, but I'm going to go ahead and get the half a cup of green peppers and onions in there. Hear the sizzle of the wok, one of my favorite sounds. And we're going to go ahead and get the sliced cloves of garlic and the sea salt. Get that in there. Both of those things are going to be good to get going first. So that's not going to take long because at a little bit over medium, the wok is plenty hot. We don't need to saute these things very long because we want to maintain as much flavor as we can right now so that we infuse those flavors into the scallops and the fish that we're now going to put in. Going with my half-pound fresh bay scallops that I got at the organic store just the other day. And I'm also going to get in those 2 pieces of perch that I slightly thawed out and then cut into chunks. Now, the goal here is not to cook this thoroughly, but to essentially saute it. Get it, if we were working with red meat, we'd be talking about searing it, but since we are dealing with seafood, we just want to get it sauteed a little bit. So, I'm going to keep working on that, and then once that is, probably take about 5 minutes to saute it the way we want, and then we're going to get it into the simmer pot. As usual, this is an experiment. Everything I do here on Lupine Epicurean is an experiment. It's something I've never tried before. It's a recipe that I whipped up in my head, and now I'm putting it out here, and we're going to see if it works. So, we may have to adjust some ingredients. That's happened before, a little too much, a little too little. Right now, I've got my fish and my scallops with the saute mixture in the simmer pot. And I'm actually going to pop this up on a medium heat to maintain the heat. Now I've got 2 cups of water. This is what I was thinking I was going to need. I'm just going to put in about 1 cup of water to get started, just in case I'm wrong. And then I'm going to put in half a cup of this 1 cup of milk. Now that I've got that in there, I'm going to go ahead and kick this up on high. Because the idea behind a simmer pot is just like simmering in any other regular pot. We want to get that mixture boiling. We want to get the heat going throughout that and really get it kicked up. And then we're going to turn it down on low, down on the simmer, and let it simmer for a while. So I've got that in there. Stir that and mix that up just a little bit. And next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put in my rice, because of all the ingredients that are going in here, the rice is the thing that's going to use most of the water, and it's the thing that's going to take the longest to cook, whereas the other things won't take as long. So I've got that mixed up in there. And I am going to go ahead and put my carrots in there, because again, carrots are crunchy. They need to go in a little first. And then I'm going to let that get heated up some more, get that boiling, and then we'll start adding some other ingredients. So far, we're looking pretty good. So, as you can see, we've got it nice and boiling. I got it all the way up to high, got it boiling, and now I've turned it back down towards medium a little bit to add some more ingredients. So, this is now where we are going to add the radish, and we are going to add the cheese. Cheese, oh, that's all sorts of goodness right there. That's what's really going to make this thing awesome. So, and now, if you weren't going to use as much cheese, if you were going to have to cut out some cheese because you're lactose intolerant or some kind of allergy, then one of the things you could do to thicken it up a little bit is add like 1/4 cup of flour. And make it a little more gravy-like, but that would do the job as well. As you can see, this is a perfect reason why experimenting sometimes takes honing. As it was, I didn't need 2 cups of water, and I didn't need a whole cup of milk. All I needed was 1 cup of water and 1/2 cup of milk, because I have a full simmer pot now So that shredded cheese is in there, and it's getting a nice cheesy look to it. Since we are using milk, we want to be a little careful, make sure that we don't scorch that milk in there. And I am now going to add my chervil, ground marjoram, and my ground coriander seed. This, I am going to use all of that. I do not think that is too much. It might seem like it at first, but all of this stuff is ground, and once we get it in there, it's going to give us a really interesting color. It's not going to look like your typical white milk chowder. It's going to be more of a gray. This is the point where it actually starts to look like stew. Bad Wolf Bay stew. So I'm going to kick it up one last more time here to get it boiling. And then I'm going to cover it, get it down on simmer, and we're going to let it simmer for at least 20-25 minutes. By the time we do that, then we should be able to actually dig in. Alright, so here we are. Got my place set, ready to eat some Bad Wolf Bay stew with perch and scallops and veggies, lots of goodness. And as you can see, I'm going to have it with a small side salad and some artisan bread with dipping oil and ground fresh pepper, a couple of olives, and a big glass of tea. This is a perfect autumn dinner. Soup to warm the soul. Bad Wolf Bay stew. So, after a day of time traveling throughout the universe, it's always nice to come home to a nice hot meal. My tribute to Doctor Who, being the Whovian that I am, some Bad Wolf Bay stew with scallops and fish and carrots and radishes and rice. All sorts of goodness. And of course, this is, as I said before, a complete experiment. When I taste this, this is the first time I will ever taste this. And you're probably wondering about the spices I use, and I'll tell you a little bit about that. Marjoram has such a nice smoky flavor to it. Chervil has a little bit of a sweetness to it. And then, of course, coriander gives a little punch that kind of brings all the flavors together. So, here we go. Let's see what we've got. Let's see if this is going to be any good. I'm sure it's really hot. Oh my. That is really good. The rice is still a little crisp. I probably could have let it simmer about 10 minutes longer. But wow, the smoky sweetness combined with these small bay scallops that are sweet in and of themselves, that is just remarkable. That is really good. One of my favorite things is to buy some artisan bread from the local organic store, get some dipping oil, and some ground pepper. All the restaurants do it. Why shouldn't you? Oh wow, oh wow, that is really, really good. This, if you're a soup lover, you are going to like this, as long as you're also a seafood lover. That is fantastic. So, here we have it. Bad Wolf Bay stew, today on the Lupine Epicurean. So thank you for joining me on yet another episode of Lupine Epicurean, where today we made Bad Wolf Bay stew, a soup of scallops and fish, vegetables, marjoram, coriander, all sorts of goodness, just all packed into a soup. Extremely healthy, great thing for the autumn and the upcoming winter. My little tribute to Doctor Who. Whovians unite out there. Try some of this Bad Wolf Bay stew. I think you're going to like it. As always, if you'd like to get the actual recipe for this, modified, since we had to make some modifications today, come on over to my foodie website. You're going to see it rolling along here. It's, see if I can get it right this time, lupineepicurean.blogspot.com. We have recipes there, restaurant reviews, including some chain restaurants that may be in your area, as well as a way to see this video. So lots of good stuff there on the foodie site. And of course, you want to learn how to make something that's simple, easy, inexpensive. Always come back here to the Wicked Wolf Studios channel on YouTube and watch yet another episode of Lupine Epicurean. And until then, we'll see you in the kitchen.